My boyfriend of 5 years just ghosted me. I've been with my boyfriend since the start of 2020 when we met in med school. We've had some tiffs over the years, but we never had a super serious fight that would lead to a breakup. However, every time we had a small argument over anything, he would always disappear and go over a day without talking to me. And all of those times, I had to be the one to chase him. He never, not even once, messaged me after a fight/argument. We'll be graduating this year, and my grandpa wanted to gift me a holiday, like 7 to 10 days at a country nearby for my graduation. I already knew this would be a problem because my boyfriend is a jealous person. I told him about the gift and said that he's welcome to come with me, but obviously my grandpa would not be paying for this trip. He has no money, since we're med students graduating this year and have no source of good income yet, and said that he didn't like this idea and that it made him feel insecure. I tried to be very understanding and respectful and asked him if he thinks I'll cheat on him just because I'm on a trip for 10 days. He said that's not the issue, but also didn't clarify what the issue was then. The next day, I tried to continue talking to him normally, but he was clearly being weird and distant. The day after that, we had a class together, and he treated me like shit in front of everyone. That was it for me. I decided that I would not be overcompensating or blowing sunshine up his ass for something that isn't wrong. That night, he sent me a goodbye text, to which I replied. That was Tuesday. Today is Friday, and he never messaged or contacted me again, and neither did I. I know not talking is childish AF, but I really don't want to be humiliated and go chase him yet again. I think this time, if he doesn't want to talk to me anymore, I'll just let him. Am I missing something? In the comments, ThrowRA Happy Soul says, honestly, he's older than you, male 30. He should know better by now on how to behave. He seems like a man-child and you should stay away. He's used you in doing all of the chasing and work, so he has no need for it. You've done nothing wrong. Why do you need to apologize? Leave him be. Is he even worth all of the chasing and effort? Does he make you happy? Honestly, it feels like you deserve better than that. It's always so cringy when you see the older partner acting like the child. I don't know how the younger partner doesn't get the ick every time the older one shows their immaturity. OP, babe, I get it. You're gutted and puzzled. It's like he hits a button and poof, gone. And here you are, left hanging. But girl, you can't keep chasing after that ghost. You deserve to celebrate your achievements without him putting you down. OP replies, it's not just that, it feels cold and heartless to not even agree on ending things. We have good memories together, and he's been good for me a lot of times. I guess I'm wondering if it's worth it to throw it all away because of a trip. Though now it's more about the principle than the trip itself. Like, what if I get an internship somewhere else for a month or two during medical residency? Then I'd have to turn it down because of him? This makes no sense in my head. You're not throwing it away because of a trip. He is throwing it away because he can't or won't communicate through conflict. He expects you to grovel for his forgiveness, even though you've done nothing wrong. This is a manipulation tactic to make you feel like you always have to earn his favor, which gives him all the power. It's not this one situation, it's a pattern of behavior. Good for you for refusing to play this game this time. Someone who is only a good partner when they're getting their way is not actually a good partner. I agree with that. If he wants to continue to manipulate her by giving her the silent treatment all the time when he doesn't get what he wants, I don't think they should continue being in a relationship with each other. No communication is not healthy. If you're not going to say what's on your mind, work out whatever problems you have together in a healthy way, then just don't continue. I feel like if OP stays, she's only going to be tormenting herself even more. I think if she does reach out, it should be reaching out to say, we are done. I am done with you. I am done with your bullshit. You are so childish and you don't know how to deal with conflict, and this is not working anymore. But keen to see what she does do now that she has gotten some advice from the comments. And now, onto the update. Hi friends, I couldn't take the pressure of not talking at all, so I ended up reaching out to him. We had a conversation and talked about our insecurities, the fact that I'll always want to do things on my own, and that I want him to do things on his own, and I thought we had sorted things out. Then fast forward a few weeks, I mentioned again going on my trip, and he absolutely lost it. He told me he didn't want to be in a relationship where the other part was constantly doing things on their own. This was the second time I traveled during the 5 years of our relationship. It turned into an endless discussion over me not wanting to waste my grandpa's gift and him not wanting me to go anywhere. He ended up giving me an ultimatum. Either I would stay with him or I would travel. Mind you, this trip would be 8 days long. I tried telling him how much I love him and how much I want to be with him, but I still want to enjoy things by myself, especially if the reason is that he can't come. It didn't work. On July 2nd, he broke up with me. He left my house at 7 p.m. and had deleted all of our pictures by 8 a.m. He never contacted me again ever for any reason. I went on the trip. It was great. I ended up meeting some friends from home who were coincidentally at the same place. I came back a week ago. I feel completely lost, guilty, and lonely. I feel like I'm a bad person who hurt a good person. I think about messaging him to try to work things out at least once every 10 minutes. I feel so bad. I don't think he would ever get back together with me, so my sense of self-preservation stops me from trying to reach out. I'm writing this in my room. It's 5 past midnight, and I can't stop crying. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I don't think we're compatible anymore, but he's the person I spent basically my entire adult life with. Anyway, I just thought I'd share the update and maybe get some insights from you guys. In the comments, you didn't hurt a good person. Good people don't treat their partners the way that he treats you. Is there anyone in the world that you have enough disdain for that you'd speak to them the way that he speaks to you? Anyone you dislike enough to ghost them the way that he ghosts you? Is there anyone whose opinions of you matters so little that you can be selfish and rude to them and feel comfortable with that? Would you speak to your grandfather the way the man that you think loves you speaks to you? Would you expect any of your friends to still be around you if you treated them the way that he treats you? Or are you careful with your relationships because those people matter to you? If he loved you, he wouldn't be like this. He's manipulative and controlling. He's got you bamboozled. You miss the fake person you wish he was, not the real him. Is this what you want to be doing in 5 years? Begging for crumbs from someone who treats you as disposable? Be with someone who respects you. So basically, he tried to pressure you into obedience, both the silent treatment and that ultimatum, and it didn't work. Also, I'm sorry, but you are the bad person who hurt a good person? He broke up with you because you didn't obey his command. He ended a 5-year relationship over an 8-day trip. I know it hurts. It's meant to hurt. It'll get better. Try to meet with friends so you're not alone. Your thoughts will begin to spiral once you are alone. Also, there's a good chance that he'd take you back if you learned your lesson, if you really want to go back. Pretty sure it never really was about that trip, but about who holds power over whom. All that behavior you described in your first post is emotional abuse aimed at you giving in and doing what he wants. If you'll be obedient in the future and never again do something without his permission, there's a good chance he'll be satisfied. The problem is, you seem to be pretty strong-willed. Honestly, all things considered, not a great breakup, as it's obviously hitting her really hard, as you'd expect it to. It always hurts to read endings like this, but I do hope it leads to, realizations of how you should be treated in a relationship and what not to put up with. And I get it. It's so easy to just say, oh, that's a deal breaker, you should break up with them, get it done. Like it's so easy and simple to do that. I know it's not. I know when you've been 20 to 25 years old in a 5-year committed relationship with this guy and he is your world, you can't just give him a phone call and say, hey, I don't like the way that you're treating me. Well, I'm ending things. It obviously doesn't work that way, but when you have enough people yelling at you to break it off, and enough people saying, yes, this is a problem, you shouldn't put up with that. That's messed up. I just think it helps. It helps to add on to the pile. So, thank you for the story, OP. I'm sorry it had to end like this, but I know you'll find someone that is better for you than he was. Our next post is by user FanExtreme, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole for avoiding going out with my sister because every guy I talk to ends up attracted to her? I, 23 female, have a younger sister, 20 female, who is incredibly beautiful. Like the kind of beauty people comment on instantly. I've always considered myself decent looking, but when we're together, it's like I disappear. The issue is that every time I'm getting to know a guy, whether we are flirting, dating, or even just hanging out, the moment he meets my sister, his attention shifts to her. Some even start obviously flirting with her right in front of me. It's painful, and it's happening so consistently that I've started avoiding situations where she and guys I know might be in the same room. My sister isn't doing this on purpose. I love her to death, and she's not malicious at all. But she's naturally very extroverted, warm, and open. She's the kind of person who will walk into a room and start a conversation with anyone. That's just who she is. She doesn't mean to flirt, but it can come off that way. I'm more ambiverted, so next to her I probably seem way quieter and less engaging, which might make the contrast even more noticeable. Now she's picked up on me distancing myself. She's asked why I don't invite her out anymore, or why I avoid introducing her to people I know, and I feel like I'm a terrible sister for not telling her the truth. But I also don't know how to keep putting myself in situations where I feel second best or invisible. So, am I the asshole for choosing to keep some space between us in social settings just to protect my self-esteem? Edit for clarity, she doesn't flirt on purpose. Her personality is naturally outgoing and charismatic, and guys seem to interpret that as interest, even though that's not her intention. She never encourages them or tries to steal anyone. This is more about how I feel than anything she's doing. In the comments, Witch Yam says, "Not the asshole. It's normal that you're protecting yourself, but you should probably tell her honestly why." OP says, "I'll try and talk to her and update. Thank you very much." Good-looking people also struggle with self-esteem, even if they don't show it. So be careful how you talk to her. If you tell her that she's the sweetest and hasn't done anything wrong, be honest, but you need to be considerate with her feelings. You might break her heart if you're not assertive enough in how you say it, because she will feel guilty one way or another. Someone else says, "I actually don't think this is a bad thing. She just naturally is clearing out the guys that aren't meant for you. Beauty is a big thing for guys, but when you find that guy values more than just beauty or prefers your beauty over hers, then he's probably the guy for you." OP says, "Yep, you were totally right, and I guess I should thank her for that. I think hearing the verbal and non-verbal comparisons guys make between us just took a toll on me. I'm a med student, so I meet very few new people. So hearing things like that from some guy that stated just a few days ago that he likes me made me spiral a bit too much." Look, I definitely get how that could make you spiral. I feel like that would make anyone spiral. That's completely relatable and understandable. To have it keep happening, to wear you down, especially when experiences with guys like this in general are few and far between, but to have those few and far between interactions all end the same way, yeah, I'd be pissed off as well. I would avoid going out with my sister so that this would stop happening, and I can see why you would put yourself in a dark place because of that. I don't think the answer is to avoid going out with her. I think the answer is to have, like the comment said, an honest and open conversation with her, get your feelings out there, and come to a compromise with her on how you guys will tackle this situation together, because I'm going to assume she's a reasonable person and she is willing to do the work with you so that this stops repeating. I'm sure there are many ways to tackle this problem in a level-headed fashion. And now, on to the update. Hi again. First of all, thank you so much to everyone who took the time to read, comment, and offer thoughtful advice. I genuinely appreciate your patience. It's taken me a little while to post this update because I wanted to wait until things had settled and I could speak from a clear, honest place. and also because I was waiting for the right moment to have a deeper conversation with my sister. The biggest shift? My perspective. And this is all thanks to you, and I will be forever grateful for that. What used to feel like a curse has actually become a weird little blessing. I realized my sister isn't stealing guys from me, she's filtering out the ones who weren't really interested in me to begin with. If someone meets me, then gets distracted the moment she walks in, that says more about them than it does about either of us. And honestly, I'm kind of glad they reveal themselves early. So now, instead of avoiding going out with her, I've started leaning in. I actually want her around more because I know that if a guy can't handle being around someone beautiful and outgoing without completely losing focus, then he's not someone that I need in my life anyway. It's like she's my human dating litmus test, and she's great at her job. I also talked to her finally. I explained why I'd been a bit distant and made sure she knew that it wasn't her fault. She was super understanding and kind, which honestly just made me feel worse for having held it in for so long. But here's the curveball. During our chat, she casually suggested that I get lip filler to help with my confidence. Now, to be clear, I never mentioned feeling physically insecure, so I was a little caught off guard, but I don't think she meant it in a shady way. She has filler herself, and probably meant it as, this helped me, maybe it'll help you kind of thing. Still not sure how to feel about that suggestion, but hey, at least we're in a place now where we can be open with each other again. Also, I just want to address something that came up a lot in the comments. Quite a few people asked me to post pictures. That honestly made me feel pretty uncomfortable. This post was never about trying to prove something, or fish for compliments, or invite comparisons between me and my sister. I wasn't trying to say, I think I'm ugly, please validate me, or look how much prettier she is. It was about a feeling, an emotional experience I was trying to work through and grow from, not a request to be judged visually. The core of this was always about how I felt, not how I look. And I'm really grateful that so many people helped me see that I don't have to keep on carrying that feeling around. Anyway, thank you again for the support and insight. It really helped me to get out of my head and shift the way that I was viewing things. And most importantly, my sister and I are good again. Things feel normal. In the comments, don't get lip filler. You are enough as you are. I'm glad for this happy update, and I hope your relationship with your sister continues to grow by leaps and bounds. And OP says, thank you. Yeah, that is a bit of a curveball as well, and it kind of distracts from the update as a whole, the lip filler thing. I had all these thoughts and preconceptions about, wow, it's great they got together and had this chat. Things are going so well. It's the litmus test. She is the litmus test to see if they are good people. And all of a sudden she's like, also you should get lip filler. And now all of a sudden it's like, hold up. Who mentioned lip filler? Why? Why would you say that? What's wrong with you? I don't know. That was just a little bit weird. Fair enough that OP's able to look past it and go, she's just a bit quirky. She's a bit odd sometimes, but she means well. And I know she meant nothing by that. I'm glad to hear it, OP, because I'm sure for most people they'd be like, don't listen to her. Where the hell did that come from? But anyway, I'm happy everything worked out for you guys. Glad to hear, and thanks for the update. Our next post is by user ThrowRA titled, My 24 female, boyfriend 27 male, booked our tickets for a different day. I'm tired, frustrated, and contemplating breaking up with him. What would you do in my place? I've been dating my boyfriend for 2 years long distance. We don't live together, but due to our demanding jobs, we try to see each other at least 3 times a month. Overall, I can say many positive things about our relationship. However, things took a turn a few weeks ago, and I can't seem to forgive him. For context, I'm very much a type A person. I need everything planned and to be in order. However, since I'm always planning things with friends, boyfriend, or at work, I get worn down pretty quickly, and it takes a toll on my mood. He, on the other hand, is very laid back and goes through life with an it-is-what-it-is attitude. So naturally, it's always been me who's been planning activities, booking places to stay, sightseeing, and holiday all throughout our relationship. A year ago, boyfriend got me tickets for my favorite artist, and I've been excited ever since. I still had to book transportation, hotel, and plan activities though. But I didn't mind as long as we could get to see the artist in time. Spoiler alert, we missed the concert because boyfriend booked the tickets for a different day and we couldn't get a refund. Safe to say, I've never been more disappointed in my life. I still feel physically, emotionally, and financially drained, and that I can't rely on him. I decided that we needed to go on a break, and I've been talking with my friends and my therapist about what to do. My therapist said that I'm processing it as a betrayal and a breach of trust. My friends are telling me that it's up to me if I want to continue the relationship, but if they were in my shoes, they couldn't trust him with anything ever again. I understand that it's a mistake anyone could have made, and in the end it's not that serious. He has apologized about 1,000,000 times and feels very sorry about how he let me down. But at the same time, all this pent-up frustration that's inside me keeps reminding me that he had one job and still managed to ruin the experience for me. Of course, not everything is black and white. Besides this character flaw, he's a very good boyfriend, is kind, funny, and we have the same opinions on politics, human rights, etc. Basically all of the serious life stuff. I can't seem to get over this mistake though. We were planning on getting married and spending the rest of our lives together, yet I don't want to end up being the only one pulling the weight. Advice would be greatly appreciated. Edit. There seems to be some confusion regarding booking and tickets. There were 2 concerts. One was happening on the 31st, and the second was on the 1st. Boyfriend told me we had tickets for the second concert, so I booked everything in accordance to that. Then on the 1st, he realized we had tickets for the 31st. So the day after we were supposed to attend the concert. Also, only he had access to the tickets. I hope that clears it up a bit. Edit 2. So far I've seen people form 3 stances in the comments. Break up with him, or I will have to manage him for the rest of my life, give him a chance with a set of boundaries, or I'm actually neurotic and he should break up with me. I've done some introspection, and considering all the facts, uneven mental load, distance, how long we'd still be apart, my reaction, I've drafted a message explaining how I felt, highlighting how much I still care about him. I've also written a few questions to ask him about the future of our relationship. He probably thought a lot about our relationship as well, and if he doesn't want to be with me, I'm not going to force him. I'll ask him probably next week. I'm not sure if anyone wants an update on that though. Overall, this situation has saddened me, and I feel extremely uncertain about my future. Thank you again to all the kind Redditors who actually offered great advice. In the comments, is that all it takes for you not to trust him so things didn't go as planned? Like, so what? You're both alive and are able to laugh about it and stick together to fix it, and the first thing that I would do is a therapist. Like, it's right that you're feeling betrayed, but it just so happens he's not betraying you. You feel that way because you talk about him like he's betrayed you and never go to your friends for advice unless they are living the life you want, because what do they know? They're not in the same place as you, and if your life is built on, planned, and organized, and you can get it together with your man, then I'd say your love is on a conditional basis, and that ain't right. Top priority planner. That comment was a mess. What is wrong with this person? OP says, I understand that, but as I've said, I've been the one planning pretty much everything, and the one time he planned the trip, he couldn't bother checking the exact date for a year, and I still had to book everything without his help. It makes me feel alone, disrespected, and that he doesn't care about me. This planned trip got my hopes up. I made us matching t-shirts and have been talking about it for a year, and in the end, it was all for nothing. Another commenter says, I'm kind of confused why you'd book everything without checking the dates of the ticket first. This seems like a bit of an odd hill to end a relationship on, as both are at fault, unless I'm missing something. In general, if the relationship is making you this frustrated, then you're probably just not compatible anymore, and that's perfectly fine. OP says, he told me the date, but it wasn't the correct one. He thought we were going to see the artist on the 1st, but we actually had tickets for the 31st. He only checked the tickets the day after our supposed concert. Before that, he hadn't checked them for an entire year, yet kept telling me the concert was happening on the 1st. Also, only he had access to the tickets. Hope that makes a bit more sense. See, when OP puts it that way, and I know it was repeated, but when OP puts it that way, it's hard for me to be like, it's also OP's fault for not double checking the ticket date. She did obviously double and triple check the ticket date and kept trying to confirm dates with him, and he didn't even bother to go in and physically check the date. He just assumed that the date was the 1st. The entire onus of this situation is on him. He messed it up. He is the one that should make it right, but he's not going to do that. I can see why in OP's shoes you'd be frustrated and contemplating breaking up, because all of the mental effort and mental load is on you for everything that you guys do together. And you already do enough of that in your daily life. Maybe that's a problem with personal boundaries and always being the one to step up when others don't want to, because if you're exhausted with it constantly in your weekly life, I can only imagine that you've allowed this to take place. And then as an extension of that, you've allowed him to completely let go of the reins and put everything to do with planning on you. I do think there has to be some element of personal responsibility in the grand scheme of things, but for the specific situation where, you booked that entire holiday and he couldn't even be bothered to double check and genuinely make sure that the concert date was on the date that he was saying, that's all on him. And this seems like a straw that breaks the camel's back situation. This is, yet again, another failure on his behalf after multiple failures before this and never showing any improvement. What would I do in your place? I'd be pissed off and end it as well. Or at least sit them down, have a stern talking to, and issue a harsh ultimatum. That's what I'd do. And now, on to the update. So, long story short, we broke up amicably. For those who want the longer version with a bit of a recap of the entire situation, I omitted a lot of details and lied about our personal lives just so that I could get a truly unbiased opinion. To tell the truth, I'm a med student, got into med school a bit later because, well, life happened. He's just finished law school. At the time of the concert, I had to study for my anatomy final and could not have any distractions, but I told myself that the concert would be a treat to myself during this tough time period. We had arrived at his friend's place where we'd be staying, and to be honest, I've never felt so unwelcomed and out of place in my entire life. Me, my boyfriend, let's call him Jim, his friend Jane, and her boyfriend John decided to go to a restaurant in the evening, and Jane basically didn't acknowledge me for the entire evening. Every time Jim had to leave the table, Jane would turn to John and pretended I wasn't there. I then heard her say that after dinner, she'd like to go get something cheap and sweet to eat, to which I proposed a certain shop in the city we were in. Jane replied that it smelled there. After asking her how did the shop smell, she looked me in the eyes, laughed, and said it smelled like poor people. When Jim returned, I took him aside and told him what Jane had said to me, to which he just laughed. For the rest of the evening, it was clear that I was sticking out from the group because the conversation topics were about things I had no knowledge about, so I couldn't participate in them. So I sat in silence until we came back to Jane's flat. I then cried in the shower. I felt completely useless, like the evening would have gone exactly the same whether I was there or not. The next day, the ticket incident happened. Jim checked the tickets and realized he had booked for the day before. I tried to get the tickets and was contacted by a scammer and got scammed for circa 80 euros. Already talked to the police, but they put the investigation on hold. During this time, Jim kept repeating how stupid he was and that he would fix everything. Just didn't know how. The artist won't come to our country anytime soon, by the way. Jim also never said how he would prevent similar mistakes from happening again. After that, I didn't speak to him for almost 2 weeks and took to Reddit. In the end, I decided to give him one last chance and said probably both of us should work on our communication. He said he didn't expect me to give him another chance, and I didn't know how to react, so he thought it over for 12+ hours and didn't contact me. During this time, I kind of emotionally accepted that he didn't want to be with me anymore. The next day, Jim agreed to give it another try. But the excuses started. He kept telling me he would be jobless during the summer, money would be tight, we wouldn't be able to travel anywhere, that I should enjoy my summer, etc. To me, it sounded like he wanted an out, but didn't want to be the bad guy and propose the breakup. Come to find out, he wasn't as broke as he was telling me because he attended a film and music festival. Doing the math, he probably spent around €300. So I messaged him that I'm tired, he didn't even say sorry after Jane insulted me, and I didn't see him making any effort in planning our future and owning up to his mistakes. We wished each other well, we would be open to communication if we ever crossed paths again, and I now feel like somebody close to me died. Rationally, I know I did the right thing, but I've never broken up with anyone amicably before, and grieving this relationship is extremely hard on me. Thank you all for reading. Take care. In the comments, breakups suck, even when they're the right decision. Let yourself grieve the future you wanted, cry, watch movies that make you cry more, it'll get easier. I hope your finals went well. And OP says, yes, thankfully I passed. Thank you for your kind words. Breakups always suck, but you definitely did the right thing. Anyone who would laugh at Jane saying the place you suggested smells like poor people is not someone you want to build a life with. And OP says, I don't want to indulge in this whole classism thing, but to be honest, Jim comes from a worse financial situation than me. Jane has generational wealth, and I think he didn't confront her because he would lose access to the perks of being her friend. After thinking about that moment so many times, I couldn't come up with any other explanation. OP responds to a longer comment regarding the future of her relationship with Jim and says, I told him I needed to think about the future of our relationship and we should limit contact. Both of us had finals coming up, and to be honest, I didn't want any distractions. We exchanged a few texts, wished each other good luck on our exams, but we were not on speaking terms as before. It wasn't intended as a punishment, but a deep thinking about all of the emotionally draining things that had happened in such a short time. Looking back, I know I should have done things differently, so I'll keep it in mind moving forward. Are OP and Jim different nationalities? OP says, we're the same nationality, but I study in a neighboring country. If either one of us wanted to visit the other, it'd take 2.5 to 3 hours of travel. Kira Starr says, OP really buried the lead there. It seems like the breakup was more about the disrespect his friends showed her and the fact that he didn't stand up for her. OP's therapist says, you should break up with him. OP's friends say, sounds like you should break up with him. OP is like, maybe I'll go to strangers to see if I should break up with him. Even if he's a great guy, he's not, he's selfish, they are fundamentally incompatible. What is it with people burying the lead in stories like this? Why do they feel like they can only be honest about what actually is on their mind when it comes to the update? Because it's that it was never about the Iranian yogurt situation once again. The events of the ticket fiasco happened after an already incredibly emotionally charged event in which you were crying and breaking down in the shower. That was the crux of the situation here, the disrespect that Jim's friends showed towards you, and he allowed and laughed at and downplayed and was like, I see nothing wrong with that, that was actually kind of chill. Like, the ticket situation makes it so much worse, obviously, and then the follow-up after that, with him spending €300 on a music festival that he just obviously didn't tell you about because he's trying to break up with you without directly breaking up with you. It just seems like he was checked out of that relationship a long time ago and didn't want to officially end it, so he hurt you along the way. Now, a lot of people won't agree with you ghosting him for 2 weeks before having a talk about it, saying that that was wrong, and I agree with that. You are not without blame yourself for disappearing for 2 weeks. I don't blame you for doing that, though. That's human. Sometimes we just have to distance ourselves from these things in order to clear our head and think about it from a distanced perspective. At the end of the day, I agree with this last comment. I think you both are fundamentally incompatible, and it took a long time for you guys to get to the point where you realize that and now are actioning it. So I'm actually glad you broke up. I think you needed to do that. And I hope you both find someone that isn't 3 hours away and won't play games with you like this. Thank you for the update. Good luck. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.